Hi guys, how are you doing? It's your girl Madam Koikoi. Welcome back to my channel. So today is a little bit different. So it's going to be like a movie review, like a mini movie review slash thoughts, right? From the title you would have known the origin of Madam Koikoi. So I'm just going to be starting with the Netflix movie The Origin of Madam Koikoi. First of all, I would like to say that the actors were impeccable. They did amazingly well. My personal favorite would be the Baba, considering the fact that this Baba is not a Yoruba man and he delivered so well. Yeah, so before I actually put out a survey to people, I was kind of mad that, oh, this movie did not make sense to me. I mean, if you're saying that the origin, Madam Koikoi, I expected you to, someone like me that did not go to boarding school, I was expecting some sort of explanation that would make sense and would give me an insight into what a lot of boarding school students said about Madam Koikoi. However, it wasn't actually what I expected. Now, like I said, I was mad because I expected something. After I got responses to the survey that I put out, I realized that, okay, so it was just fiction, right? I don't think it was actually what happened that brought about the Madam Koikoi. I mean, when I was watching, I was like, 1941, 1971, 1991. It actually did not make sense to me because I'm wondering how the 1940s related to what happened in the 70s, and then how it started affecting the people in the 90s. And I honestly did not buy that story of the origin of Madam Koikoi. Personally, I would say that I feel like the origin of Madam Koikoi, the title is, I feel like it's like a clickbait. And if you're actually looking to get the origin, the actual story of Madam Koikoi, and you want to rely on this movie to get answers, sorry. So I'll just get right into the survey I put out and the responses I got, right? I didn't go to a boarding school, but I sent out this survey for people that went to boarding schools. And I asked questions. The first question would be, did you attend boarding school? And then I asked if they went to private or government schools. Now that question was to get to understand if this Madam Koikoi story was being peddled in public schools or private schools. If they also had Madam Koikoi story, if it was like a myth or fact in just government schools or in private schools. And then I asked again, do you know of Madam Koikoi? And while in school, did you have any strange experiences that could have been from Madam Koikoi? 73.9% said no. 17.4% said no, but someone I know did. 88.7% said yes, that they had experiences that could have been from Madam Koikoi. So maybe it's a fact. Do you think Madam Koikoi is real? Oh well, 69.6% said no. 30.4% said maybe. Nobody said they felt that it was real. So what about the 8.7% that said they had experiences that could have been from Madam Koikoi? How come nobody felt Madam Koikoi was real? Do you know any stories about the origin of Madam Koikoi? Do you have your own Madam Koikoi story or experience that you would like to share? A lot of people said no, but somebody said, I remember they said she always wore red heels that did kukuka. Excuse me. Another person said, we always heard this noise on the corridors at night, like a lady was walking through. That particular night, I happened to come out to pee, and then it was as if the footsteps went fast and literally disappeared. Then I kept feeling like someone was watching me. Bro, I would have sped faster than light, for real. Oof. Another person said, I do not have any personal encounter, but I remember being so scared one night because I heard the story that night, just before lights out, and midnight I had to pee. The story says you only hear her footsteps, but when you hear the footsteps close to your bed and you look under your bed with a flashlight, you see a red shoe on the other end of your flashlight. Bro, I went crazy that night. Full bladder and crazy. Man. Come, I hope you did not pee your pants. I really hope. I'm just going to pause right there. Doesn't mean that people that went to boarding school would have to leave their dormitories, their halls, and go outside in the dark to pee. They didn't have restrooms inside their dormitories like that they could go into from their halls. I don't know. How could you put children through all of that? I didn't go to boarding school, so I cannot relate. Another person said, I never had a Madam Koikoi related experience. However, I had other scary experiences but was associated with witchcraft. What? So the responses I just gave now, this question, do you have your own Madam Koikoi story or experience you would like to share? The next one will be, what is your own version of the origin of Madam Koikoi? And I put it in brackets, please don't make things up. Now listen to what somebody had to say. I know this person. Limao, don't get me started. I'll make things up. Again. The next person said it's cap. There was not much to do and no internet back then. So people came up with ridiculous stories for fun. Madam Koikoi is an example of such ridiculous stories that never happened. I think so too. And then another person said, the way we were always hungry back then, if Madam Koikoi showed up, we go chow her. Eerie. Yo, you people were hungry in boarding school. Hey, sorry. A young lady who had newly given birth was attending a party, I think a school party. She wore a beautiful dress and had a new pair of heels that made a distinct sound with each step she took. She was having the time of her life, dancing during the party with her baby. Unfortunately, a man came to the party, murdered her and stole the baby. That's cold. However, the lady did not stay dead. Now she wanders around schools in search of her baby and murderer, still adorning the same dress she was killed in and the heels that make the distinct koi koi sound. Okay. Now that sounds believable, but I don't think Madam Koikoi is real. Another person said that a red shoe would be doing koi koi in the middle of the night. Then another person said they never asked for details. They couldn't fathom the reality of it. Yeah. Another person said, I think the story went about a family had an accident and everyone died. The final state of the woman when she died was she had a red shoe on one leg, but her child in a boarding school. And because of the love she had for the child, the mother spirit could not rest, so she wanders through boarding schools to look for her only child and her other shoe. Did they have accidents in the school? Why was she looking for the other shoe in the school? So that's why we hear koi silence, koi silence. Another person said she was a teacher that was maltreated and died and started haunting schools. This is similar to the story of the origin of Madam Koikoi, the Netflix one. The teacher was assaulted, she died, and she started haunting. Then another person said, I heard she was in love with a male teacher who was then snatched by a female student. Since then, she stalks female students in boarding schools. Now this sounds made up. I mean, I'm not saying this person made it up. I'm saying the person that gave this person this story made it up. Because what's this? I beg you. I heard that a nice teacher who always wore red heels to school was killed on school premises. Her spirit was experiencing unrest, and it ended up tormenting the students in their hostels. This story is more common within girls' colleges. Hi, girls' college girls. Is this true? Is this the version that you guys know? please let me know in the comments. I don't remember the origin of Madam Koikoi, but I have heard people say she's a spirit that wears shoe which makes Koikoi sound and usually torments students at midnight. I'm curious, why are you tormenting students at midnight? For what? I beg you. Another one. The only thing I know is that Madam Koikoi is a ghost who wears one leg of her heels to hunt children in boarding schools. I still don't understand. What kind of evil spirit is haunting children? For what? Wait till then do. So yeah, so that's the end of the responses to the survey that I put out. Now my take is that I think that Madam Koikoi's story is a myth. I don't think it is real. My assumption is that maybe somebody in a school, maybe they were trying to keep the students in boarding school, maybe they were trying to keep them in check, or maybe they were trying to scare them so that they don't, maybe sneak out of school in the midnight or any time, right? So maybe this person somebody came up with this Madam Koikoi story to scare students, children. So I feel like it was somebody that maybe some house master, house mistress, some teacher that started this story, and then the students from that school went home, went on holiday, gave their friends the story. Their friends went back to school to give the story, and then it started circulating and everybody started giving their own version of the origin of Madam Koikoi. I don't think Madam Koikoi is real. Yeah, I do not think so. I believe that if, like somebody said, if there was actually internet at the time, I feel like a lot of people would have been more informed, right? A lot of people would have been more informed. I really would like to know who actually started this Madam Koikoi story. How did it start? When? Like, I don't know if the older folks can let us know if there was this Madam Koikoi story when they were in school, boarding schools in the 60s, in the 70s, in the 80s, all right? I'm just really curious, right? Because I don't think it is fair if this story is made up. I don't think it is fair to make things like that up, because of course children will be scared, right? Anyway, do you have your own Madam Koikoi story? Did you have any kind of experiences when you were in school about Madam Koikoi? For those that are still in boarding school, do you or have you had any kind of experience that could be related to Madam Koikoi? Also, do you have your own story, your own version of the origin of Madam Koikoi? Please let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching this video. Hopefully we get to learn one or two things about this myth, in my opinion, in the comments. Thank you for watching. Please remember to subscribe, like, share my video to everybody that you think might be interested in watching this. I love you guys. Thanks for always coming to my channel. Mwah. Bye. God bless you.